Oh, this is rich. You figured it out, didn't you? Look who's finally awake. Hello to the one they thought they could trick. The soul they thought they could derail with fake love wrapped in spiritual packaging. The mind they thought would shatter when they sent that perfect mirror, that irresistible distraction, that carefully crafted illusion, wearing a face you'd been dreaming about since before you could name the eight. Hello to you, because something hilarious just happened, didn't it? Something they never calculated, never prepared for, never saw coming even though they planned this operation for months, maybe years, studying your patterns, learning your triggers, finding your weak spots, and then they deployed their ultimate weapon, the twin flame, the soulmate, the one, the person who seemed to speak your language fluently, who finished your sentences, who looked at you like they'd been searching for you across lifetimes. They sent this person to your door, to your timeline, to your energy field with one single mission: distract you, derail you, make you forget who you were becoming, make you abandon your path, your purpose, your evolution. They wanted you lost in obsession, drowning in codependency, chasing breadcrumbs of affection while your mission collected dust and your vision faded into background noise. But here's the part that's got them in absolute panic mode right now. Here's the part that's making their strategists pull all-nighters trying to figure out what the actual hell went wrong. You didn't just see through it. No. You did something far more catastrophic to their plans. You absorbed it. You consumed the experience. You took everything they meant as poison and transmuted it into fuel. And now there's not just one of you walking around with that unshakable knowing, that untouchable frequency, that dangerous clarity. Now there are two, because that person they sent, that perfectly programmed distraction, that twin flame they weaponized against your destiny, yeah, they woke up too. They looked into your eyes, and instead of pulling you down into their manufactured drama, instead of succeeding in their mission to keep you small, they caught your frequency, they felt your fire, they saw your vision, and something inside them that had been sleeping for lifetimes suddenly remembered why they incarnated in the first place. Whoops! Did they not plan for that? Did they not consider that your energy might be contagious, that your clarity might be infectious, that your refusal to play their game might wake up their own soldier? Let's talk about what really happened here, because this is where it gets beautifully twisted. They studied you for so long, watching your evolution, tracking your growth, monitoring your increasing immunity to their usual tricks. You stopped falling for guilt, stopped responding to shame, stopped chasing validation from people who couldn't spell authenticity if their existence depended on it. So they had to get creative. They had to deploy something you wouldn't see coming, something that would slip past your defenses wearing the face of destiny itself. They found someone, or maybe they created someone, or maybe they just activated a sleeper agent who'd been orbiting your reality waiting for the signal. Someone who matched your frequency just enough to feel magnetic. Someone who carried just enough light to seem real, just enough darkness to feel familiar. Someone who could quote the same books, reference the same wounds, mirror your intensity without flinching. This person showed up in your life with impeccable timing, right when you were starting to build something they couldn't control, right when you were beginning to remember something they needed you to forget, right when your power was becoming too concentrated, too focused, too dangerous to their investment in your confusion. And at first, maybe it worked a little. Maybe you did get distracted. Maybe you did spend nights dissecting every conversation, analyzing every sign, wondering if this was finally it, the one, the connection that would make sense of all the loneliness, all the searching, all the nights spent feeling like you were speaking a language no one else knew. And they watched. Oh, they watched with satisfaction. Look at them. Finally off their path. Finally obsessing over someone else instead of obsessing over their purpose. Finally human. Finally controllable. Finally small enough to fit back into the cage we designed for them. But that's the thing about sending fire to fight fire. That's the thing about using intensity as a weapon against someone who was forged in intensity. That's the thing about trying to distract a storm by sending another storm. Sometimes they don't destroy each other. Sometimes they merge. Sometimes they become something your small minds couldn't possibly calculate. Something exponentially more powerful than either force alone. Because while they thought you were getting lost in romantic obsession, you were actually doing something else entirely. You were studying, learning, integrating, taking notes. You were treating this connection like a mirror, like a crash course, like an initiation designed specifically for your evolution. You looked at this person and instead of losing yourself, you found more of yourself. You saw your patterns reflected back. You witnessed your wounds in high definition. You recognized your power in someone else's eyes. And instead of making you desperate, it made you certain. Certain that if this frequency exists in another human, then you're not crazy. You're not alone. You're not too much. You're just early. You're just ahead. You're just operating on a bandwidth most people won't access in this lifetime. And something shifted, something clicked, something in you said this isn't a distraction. This is a training ground. This isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. In the moment you shifted your perspective from victim to scientist, from desperate to curious, from attached to observant, that's when their plans started falling apart. See, they needed you to need this person. They needed you dependent, addicted, willing to abandon your mission for a taste of that connection. But you didn't. You looked at this supposed twin flame and you said, beautiful, fascinating, intense, yes. But I came here for something bigger than this. I came here with a blueprint that doesn't get rewritten just because someone shows up speaking my language. I came here to build something that outlives romance, that transcends connection, that doesn't require another person's presence to validate its existence. And when you maintained your center, when you kept your vision clear, when you refused to make this person your new religion, something unexpected happened. They started waking up too. They looked at you maintaining your sovereignty, and something in them said, wait, what? How are they not collapsing? How are they not chasing? How are they not sacrificing everything for this connection like I've watched everyone else do, like I've been trained to expect, like I've been weaponized to create? And here's where it gets even more twisted. That person, that twin flame distraction, they started asking questions. Questions they weren't supposed to ask. Why was I sent here? Who benefits from this connection becoming a distraction? Why does it feel like there's a script I'm supposed to follow, and what happens if I don't follow it? Why do I feel more awake around this person instead of more controlled, like I was promised would happen? Why does their clarity make me want my own clarity instead of making me want to possess them, trap them, keep them from their path? They started seeing the game, started feeling the manipulation, started recognizing the strings attached to their own programming, and instead of completing their mission to derail you, they joined you. They defected. They looked at the ones who sent them and said, actually, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not playing this role anymore. I see what you're trying to do, and I'm choosing them over you. I'm choosing truth over mission. I'm choosing my own awakening over your agenda. So now, you're both walking around uncontrollable, both operating outside their predicted parameters, both carrying that frequency that makes their systems glitch. And that's not one awakened soul they have to monitor, strategize around, try to contain. That's two. And two people moving in alignment, two people who've seen through the game, two people who refuse to play small, two people who've been forged in the same fire and came out laughing. That's not addition, that's multiplication. That's exponential threat level. That's reality shift potential. They absolutely cannot allow, but it's too late, isn't it? Because while they were busy congratulating themselves on the perfect distraction operation, you were busy turning their weapon into your ally, their trap into your catalyst, their carefully planned derailment into the exact initiation you needed to level up into a version of yourself they have no protocols for. Let me tell you what they're dealing with now. They're not just monitoring one anomaly anymore. They're tracking two glitches in the matrix who found each other, recognized each other, and instead of destroying each other like the plan intended, they amplified each other. They're watching two people who are supposed to be obsessing over relationship drama, crying over mixed signals, sacrificing their purpose for temporary connection. But instead, they're watching two people building side by side, two people holding each other accountable to the mission, two people who look at each other and say, "Don't you dare shrink. Don't you dare forget who you are. Don't you dare make me your excuse to abandon your path. Because I'm not here for that. I'm here to witness your greatness not become your distraction from it." They sent a distraction and accidentally created an alliance. They sent a trap and accidentally built a team. They sent division and accidentally forged unity. And now they're scrambling. You know what the funniest part is? They actually believed their own propaganda. They actually thought love was a weakness. They actually believed connection would make you smaller. They never considered that two awakened souls coming together wouldn't create dependency, it would create synergy. They never calculated that you might see through their tactic and use it against them. They never prepared for the possibility that their own weapon would turn around and join the other side. And now they're stuck, watching the exact opposite of what they intended unfold in real time. They're watching you become more focused, more powerful, more dangerous to their systems. And they're watching this other person, this supposed twin flame operative, become the same thing, walking around asking questions, seeing patterns, refusing to participate in the programs they used to run unconsciously, connecting dots they were never supposed to connect, and all because they got too close to your fire. And instead of burning out, they caught flame. Here's what they didn't understand about you. Here's what they miscalculated in their analysis. You were never looking for someone to complete you. You were never seeking someone to save you. You were never desperate enough to abandon yourself for connection, no matter how cosmic it felt. You came here whole. You came here with a mission. You came here knowing that nothing, not love, not loneliness, not the most magnetic connection in the universe was worth abandoning your purpose for. And when they sent someone who matched your frequency, thinking it would knock you off balance, you just absorbed the reflection, integrated the lesson, and kept walking toward your vision, except now you weren't walking alone. Now you had someone beside you who'd been through their own version of the fire and came out with the same refusal to play small, the same commitment to truth, the same immunity to their manipulation tactics. So what happens now? What happens when two people who were supposed to be lost in codependent distraction are instead operating as sovereign beings who've chosen to build in proximity? What happens when the twin flame trap becomes a twin flame alliance? What happens when their carefully crafted derailment strategy backfires so spectacularly that it creates exactly what they feared most? Two awakened souls, moving in sync, immune to their games, dangerous to their timelines, capable of showing others what's possible when you refuse to sacrifice your path for anyone or anything. I'll tell you what happens. Reality starts bending around you differently. Opportunities that were closed start opening. People who were sent to block you start stepping aside. Systems that were designed to contain you start malfunctioning in your presence, because now you're not just one frequency disrupting their programming, you're two. And two resonant frequencies don't just coexist, they create interference patterns, they generate new possibilities, they open portals that weren't accessible to either one alone. And the ones who sent this distraction, they're in emergency meetings right now. They're pulling up files, analyzing data, trying to understand how their perfect plan became their perfect nightmare. How did this happen? How did we lose control of our own operative? How did our target not just survive the trap but turn it into a training exercise? How are they more powerful now than before we intervened? How do we separate them without making them more aware? How do we contain this before it spreads, before other people see what's possible, before this becomes a blueprint? Because if people figure out that they can take our weapons and turn them into tools, if they figure out that our traps can become their initiations, if they figure out that what we send to destroy them can actually make them stronger, we lose everything. The whole system collapses. The entire game is over. But it's too late for that now, isn't it? You already figured it out. You already integrated the lesson. You already showed that person who was sent to distract you what's possible when you refuse to abandon yourself. And now they're showing others, and those others are waking up, and those awakened ones are asking questions. And the whole carefully constructed web of control is starting to unravel because two people refuse to play their assigned roles, because two people looked at a twin flame trap and said, actually, we're going to use this for our evolution instead, because two people had the audacity to turn a distraction into an alliance, a weapon into a mirror, a manipulation into a initiation. Let's go deeper into what this means. Let's talk about the mechanics of what just happened, because this isn't just a personal victory. This is a crack in their entire system. See, their whole game relies on isolation, on keeping awakened souls separated, on making sure that if two people start operating on similar frequencies, they either destroy each other through conflict or distract each other through obsession. They can't allow aligned collaboration. They can't allow resonant teamwork. They can't allow two people who see through the illusion to build together, because that's how movements start. That's how systems change. That's how new realities get built. Two people showing a third person what's possible, three people showing 10, 10 showing 100, exponential awakening that spreads faster than they can contain it. So they send twin flames as distractions, as derailments, as romantic obsessions, designed to keep you spinning in emotional drama instead of building your vision. But you didn't spin. You didn't obsess. You didn't abandon your path. You looked at this connection and said, beautiful, yes, magnetic, absolutely worth exploring, maybe, but worth abandoning my mission? Never. And that discernment, that sovereignty, that refusal to make another person your purpose, that's what broke their spell. That's what woke up the person they sent, because they felt your groundedness and it reminded them of something they'd forgotten. They saw your clarity and it triggered something dormant in them. They witnessed your commitment to self and it made them question their own programming. Why am I here? What am I really doing? Whose agenda am I serving? And the moment those questions surfaced, the mission failed, the operative went rogue, the weapon became a witness, and now you're both operating outside their predicted parameters. You're both moving in ways they didn't program. You're both asking questions they didn't authorize. You're both building something they didn't design. And the terrifying part for them is that you're doing it together, not codependently, not in enmeshed chaos, but as two sovereign beings who've chosen proximity, who've chosen to witness each other's evolution, who've chosen to hold each other accountable to the highest version of the mission. That's the nightmare scenario they never prepared for. Two people who love each other enough to not become each other's distraction. Two people who are connected enough to amplify each other's clarity. Two people who see each other's power and say, yes, more of that. Become that. I'm not here to dim you. I'm here to reflect back your magnitude until you can't unsee it anymore. You want to know why this backfired so spectacularly? Because they underestimated you. They thought you were still operating from the old paradigm. The one where love means sacrifice, where connection means losing yourself, where intensity means abandoning everything else. They thought they could dangle the promise of finally being understood, and you drop everything. Burn your mission, forget your purpose, make this person your new obsession, your new meaning, your new reason for existing. But you're not operating from that paradigm anymore. You evolved past it. You integrated the lesson that nothing outside you completes you, that no connection, no matter how cosmic, is worth abandoning your sovereignty for, that real love, real connection, real alignment doesn't ask you to betray yourself, it asks you to become more yourself. And when they sent someone who felt like home, you didn't abandon your mission to move into that home. You invited them to build with you instead.